This video is going to show you how to make a paper rocket out of cardstock. It's paper, but it's not like printing paper or paper that goes into a printer. It's cardstock. This is 3 times heavier than normal paper. Instead of it being 20 or 24 pound paper, this is 64 pound paper. Being 3 times heavier gives it some rigidity, so that's what we're going to be after is getting that kind of rigidity on it. For our engineering contest, when you get your kits, you're going to have a couple different things. You'll have some different instruction sheets that are going to show you fins and kind of fin marking guides. We'll talk about how to use this. You're going to get a piece of PVC pipe. This is the same diameter as the pipe that's going to be launching your rocket. You're going to be getting a piece of cardstock, and it'll be a darker colored cardstock so that we can see your rocket when it's up in the air. So it would look something maybe like this. It's going to be a red, orange, or green, I think, when we get that. And let's see, what else are you going to get? That's all you're going to get in terms of the parts. Now, what else do you need? You're going to need some scissors. Okay, these are some nice heavy-duty scissors that I'm going to be using to cut cardboard with. You're going to need some tape along with the scissors. You're also going to need either a skinny hardbound book. This is about the width of my finger. A skinny hardbound book, or a piece of wood. This is what the wood is. That's about the width of my finger right there. So we're going to use that to help draw some lines. You will also need some kind of heavy-duty cardboard. Something like this. So this is a Pop-Tarts box, and it's a nice cardboard. This makes great fin material. It's a lot heavier than the paper that we have. So this is what we're going to use to make our design. So let's start with the body tube. Let's start with the pieces. We'll make the body tube, the fins, and the nose cone, and then get them prepped, and then we'll assemble. So let's move this over. Okay, for the body tube, I'm going to go the long way of the paper, and I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I'm going to use black tape so you can see what I'm doing. And this is sticky side up, so it's black that side, and this is going to be sticky side up on my tape. So then I'll take this and put it in place. So it's about halfway on the tape, and I'll press it down. So now it's stuck. Again, this is sticky side up, so you can see it when I put my finger on it, it comes right up. And then I'll take my PVC pipe that we give you, and I'm going to roll it up. So let's see. I'm not going to roll it up too tight because I want it to slide easily on this pipe. If it's too tight, you're going to waste energy overcoming friction. So let's just put it there. And it's got a little bit of looseness to it. I'm going to roll it up gentle. It may look like I'm pressing down hard, but I'm not. And then when I get right to the tape, right here, now I'm going to press down hard. So there we go. And just like that, I've got a body tube. But I've got one little problem with this. When this sits on the piece of PVC pipe, air is going to come out this end of the PVC pipe. So I need to cap this with some tape. So typically I might use 4, 5, or 6 pieces of tape, put it right on the end to try to cap it. And all I'm going to do is just put it right across the end of this, and it's stuck to my finger. Let's see. Let's try this again. I'm going to put this right across the end of it, and I've got the tube in there just to show you, again, to get a little bit of rigidity to make my life just a little bit easier. Then I'll take some more tape, and I'll put it on the end. And if I had more time, I'd put more tape on here, but I'm going to be kind of short on time. So what I want to do is I want to cover up the end so when air comes out the tube, out this part of the tube, this will cap it all off, and that'll help push the rocket up in the air. Alright, not quite ready for the finish with the body tube yet. Now let's prep it a little bit. The fins are going to go on the bottom of it, and I've got to decide how many fins and what their shape is. So first, let's get ready for the fins. I'm going to take this, which is a fin marking guide, and it's going to show me how to mark the tube so I can put the fins evenly around. 3 fins, 4 fins, 5 fins, and that'll be 6 fins there. And then I'll take my tube. I'm going to use 3 fins because it's going to be quicker to build. I can build it more quickly. And I'll take my body tube. And what you cannot see here is I'm actually holding the top of the body tube to hold it in place. So here's the body tube. I'm going to push it down on the paper. And then I'm going to put a little mark where the arrow is. A little mark where the second arrow is. And a little mark where the third arrow is. So those will be my 3 fins I'm going to put on the body tube. So you can see there's a mark right here, and if I rotate it, there's another mark, and there's a mark. But these marks really aren't the whole story. So I'm done with the fin guide. the next thing I need to do is draw a long line right along the tube itself. To do that, I can use a door jamb, a piece of wood, or a textbook that's kind of got a hard cover to it, and again, about the width of my finger or so. Whatever you use, though, you're going to leave a mark on it. So if it's a door jamb, it's going to leave a mark on it. If it's the book, it could leave a mark on it. In this case, it's a piece of scrap wood, so I don't care if it leaves a mark on it. Let's see if I can do this backwards so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to hold this up against the wood. And I'll hold the wood and the tube. And then we'll draw a line with the marker right here. I'm using the wood as just a straight edge that's parallel to the tube. So that's the line that I have right there. Now I'll turn it around, and at this mark I'm going to draw another line. So I'll hold it, and then I'll draw it. And so you can see there's my line. So my fin will actually start here, and I can see where the top is, so it goes straight up the body tube. And the next one is right next to the tape. Kind of poor planning on my part. Makes it hard to draw the line. I'll do the best I can. Here we go. And so there's a line right there next to the tape. Okay, so the body tube's all set. I'm going to set that aside. Let's do the fins. So to do the fins, I'm going to take my box. Could be a cereal box. In this case, this is actually a tissue box. And then I figured out the shape of my fins, and I drew, and I need them all to be identical. So I drew one like this, and I cut it out. And then what I did was I put it in place right here, and then I took my pen, which I've just misplaced. Here it is. And then I drew around the fin. Then I moved it over and drew another one, and moved it over and drew another one. And then I took my nice sharp scissors and cut them all out. Sharp scissors does make this job a lot easier and safer. So it's good to have a pair. And that gave me these fins. And so now what I want to do is I want to put these fins on the rocket. They don't have to be this shape. You can look at the other page that we gave you, and you could choose a shape, make it yours. Make it kind of cool. The one thing you do want is you want the fins to be pretty big on the rocket. They're going to help give it some guidance, and if the fins are too small on the rocket, they're not going to give it a good guidance. More fins, more stability, more fins, more weight, but there is an optimum weight, so you do want to add some weight to your rocket. So my fins are set, my body tube is set, I need a nose cone. Okay, to make the nose cone, I'm going to take another piece of cardstock, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of tape and put it on the outside corner of my paper. And that's going to help me, since I'm the only one here doing this. Now I want to make this into a cone. I want to make sure that where the tape is, notice the tape is sticky side up on this. And I'm going to make a cone out of it. Let's see if you can see me kind of rolling it up into a cone here. And I'll roll this around into part of the cone. Not the easiest thing I've done. There we go. And there's my cone. And that doesn't look really good. But for the sake of this video, that'll be fine. See this big gap up here, right there? I definitely don't want that to go on my flying rocket. So if this was something I was going to actually launch, I would redo my nose cone. For sure. But it's not. It's just to show you how to build it. So there we go. Smooth tape on here does make a difference. You want that tape to be smooth. Okay, at this point, it's looking kind of crazy because my nose cone, look how big that is. And, here's the body tube that I'm doing. So the body tube's just about as big as the nose cone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the nose cone smaller. I'm going to put the pipe back into my body tube, up to my end. And then I am going to take this, let's see if you can see it, put it inside the nose cone so you can see how it's inside of there. And I can feel, because there's a pipe in there, I can feel where the end of this pipe is. So I'm going to make a mark not at the end, but a little bit short of the end. And if I make a mistake, just get another piece of paper and try it again. Maybe you make it better. Then I'll take this and cut it where my mark is. And my mark wasn't at the very end of my nose cone when I made it. And so you can kind of see it wasn't right here, it was actually a little bit farther down. In fact, it looks like it's about a ½ an inch farther down. So I'm going to trim this off. You could also cut some slots in it and taper it. There's lots of ways you can make this better. And then I'll put this on here. Oh, this is really awful. I made it too small. So I need to make it a little bit bigger. But for the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to make it bigger. I would take some tape, put it on here. If I need to add weight to my nose cone, I could just stick it right there. It is like an ice cream cone. Put the tape on, put it in place. Whoa, it's sticky. Try to put it in place. And a little bit bigger would have helped, or even maybe taper it. Get a little bit of origami. You want to make sure your nose cone is straight, and this one is not. I want to make sure the center points right in the middle of the body tube. Because if it doesn't, it's going to, if it turns sideways, so will your rocket. So that's really, okay, it's good for the video, but it wouldn't be good to fly. Alright, wow, I got a lot of pieces here. I've got the nose cone, I got the body tube, and I've got the fins all put together. Now I want to stick the fins on the rocket. There are two ways to do that. One way to do that is just with tape. And it's going to be kind of tough because you got to make sure you got sticky tape and you want it to be smooth on the rocket. So here's my rocket. I'm going to take the, I'll leave the pipe in there just to make it stiff. I'm going to put the tape on the fin, not the rocket. Then I'm going to pull the tape back a little bit so it's sticky side up right now. And I'll line it up on my line that I drew, and then I'll flip the tape over. Just line it up. Flip the tape over, and now my fin is way too wobbly. So the simple solution, put tape on the other side. So I'll put tape on the other side, pull it down, make sure it's nice and tight. And now it's held in with sticky tape. And you can kind of see how it goes. It's a little bit crooked, but I think it'll be alright. And in fact, if I looked at it from the end, up here, I want this to point right to the middle of the tube. And then as I do the others, I want them to be the same. Now instead of using tape, if you have hot glue around, that would work very well too. So here's one I made earlier, and on this one you can see I've got tape on the fins, and then I've got hot glue right there on that one. And I like the hot glue. That worked really, really well. So now it's time to kind of see, enjoy your rocket and see what you did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tube in it. Now on the field we've got a 31-inch tube that we're using, so you can actually combine pieces of paper and make a longer rocket if you want to. That's up to you and your design, any research you do about this. And then I'll put it on here. Now to test it around the house, oh, this is the fun part. So you're going to need a big long hallway or do it outside. If you're doing it in a small room like a kitchen, it'll fly from one side to the other and cream itself on the wall. So what you want to do is take the pipe, put it in there, and then clean off the end of the pipe, and then you'll put your mouth here and you'll give it a hard burst of air. And when you give it that hard burst of air, this will go flying off, and it'll easily, with hardly any effort, your rocket will probably do 20 feet just standing up and blowing it off. So you need a big open space when you're going to test it. It does have a point. You want to make sure it's not aimed at anybody either. I would definitely go outside where it's got a nice open area. You can't do anything to your rocket. So my video took a lot longer than I thought, but about 13 minutes. I'll show you how to build your paper rocket that we're using for our little engineering contest. So there we go.